She approached the attractive stranger seated at the bar, his fingers lightly tracing the rim of his beer. "Hoping for some luck tonight, handsome. Luck's been playing hard to get with me for years. Tonight's just another round. What about you? What brings you here?" "Toast in my divorce. Looking for a rebound before I chicken out. Not looking for serious until. By the way, and I'm Lena. Sandy, like Sandy Koufax. I'm guessing my ring doesn't deter you." "Ring or not, Sandy, you don't scream married, if you catch my drift. If you mean I'm trying to survive a rough marriage with a shred of dignity, spot on. Why not divorce her? Finances. Either divorce and live in poverty while she and her lovers thrive, or stay married, keeping some cash. In my case, my ex found a richer, busty model. Got half of close to nothing, but lost nothing I cherished. So kindred spirits enough to head to yours or a motel and have some fun. Got an SUV with tinted windows in the lot, air mattress inside, no back seat, and clean-up wipes handy. You came prepared. I'm hunting for thrills in all the right places. Skip the dating song and dance, you know." Sandy tossed a $20 bill and followed Lena to her ride. "Condom. I'm clean, promise. You wouldn't fit about that, would you?" "Clean as far as I know. If I was still with the wife, well, who knows. But as for my current partner, my hand. No VD there. Works for me. Pills got the pregnancy fear at 97% covered. Those are odds I'll take any day." Afterglow. "So, Lena, how was that for you?" "Oh, Sandy, that was incredible. You explored territories no one else has touched. You've set a new standard. I might be ruined for anyone else. Oh dear." Cheeky, they chuckled together. "But seriously, Lena, how do you feel about being in this situation?" "You know, I've been pondering that. It doesn't quite feel like I'm contributing to infidelity. Do you feel like you're betraying your wife?" "More like leveling the playing field. I figure I'm about 1,000 steps behind what she's done. I doubt I can even that out in one night, tempting as it may be." Their second rendezvous was slower, filled with tenderness. Words seemed to elude them afterward, each hesitant to express sentiments that might complicate things tomorrow. They dressed in silence. Exiting the SUV, Lena mentioned she was heading home. Sandy felt the need to say something. "If you ever miss me, give me a shout. I kinda enjoyed it, kiddo." "Wow, Sandy, that's quite the compliment. If I'm that good, I might need to start charging." "Just kidding, couldn't resist. But honestly, being with you was great. It felt good to be with someone genuine, no hidden agendas. I wouldn't mind a repeat performance at all." "Whoa, getting sentimental on me, huh?" They laughed a bit and shared a lingering kiss goodnight, clearly hoping for another encounter. Sandy returned home, the place he sometimes shared with his wife. Surprisingly content with the evening, Lena had restored his faith in unattached, decent women. He settled into bed, reminiscing about Lena, and drifted off to sleep. The following morning, Sandy brewed coffee as his wife, Kerry, stumbled in looking worse for wear. She shot him a challenging look. "What are you staring at?" "I plead the fifth for self-preservation." "Think that's funny? Aren't you curious what I've been up to?" "It's not exactly a mystery. Let me guess. You had a wild night, plenty of drinks, and company in various forms. I'd say I'm close." "Wrong. No dancing for me. Just booze, killer weed, and a dozen guys from different backgrounds. Gave 'em free rein. And you can't do a thing about it. I'll figure something out." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Explaining might not work with your current mental state. How about you rest while I head to work?" "Before you go, where's the Tylenol?" "Tylenol doesn't possess that kind of prowess. Check the medicine cabinet, as usual." "No need for the attitude." "Of course, dear." "Go to hell, you jerk." As time passed, Lena and Sandy continued dating, their encounters evolving beyond just sex, although each rendezvous culminated in a sensuous embrace. Eventually, Lena made the decision to end it. She expressed to Sandy her growing concern about developing serious feelings for him and feeling like she was intruding as the other woman in his marriage, especially since Sandy showed no progress towards divorce. His lack of urgency or action made her uneasy. Sandy acknowledged her worries and offered to reach out if his situation changed. Lena, uncertain but open-minded, agreed to stay in touch. As weeks went by, neither Sandy nor Lena experienced significant changes in their lives, yet they found themselves missing each other increasingly. Concealing their emotions became more challenging during their conversations. The longing for one another was becoming harder to mask in their calls. Sandy's arrest. Sandy sat watching TV when the doorbell rang, accompanied by an insistent pounding. He opened the door to find two policemen waiting. "Good evening, officers. What's the matter? Are you Sandy Jackson?" "Yes." "And your wife is Kerry Jackson?" "Unfortunately, yes." His response surprised the officers. "I regret to inform you, sir, your wife was killed tonight." "Really? How? A car accident?" "I hope not. We just got her a new car." "No, she was shot." "That's shocking." "Sandy, like in Sandy Koufax." "Sandy, we need you to come down to the station for questioning." "Am I a suspect?" "I've always wanted to be in law and order. The husband's always the prime suspect, right?" "Yes, it's a homicide investigation." "Sure, let me grab a jacket." They drove off, declining his playful request to flash the lights. At the station, Sandy was led to an interrogation room. Detectives Bennett and Armbruster entered. "Good cop, bad cop?" Sandy joked. "I wish those shows never mentioned that," Detective Bennett sighed. "We'll be asking about your wife's murder. You're not under arrest. If you want a lawyer, we'll stop." "Crystal clear." "Enough with the cop cliches, please. Anything you say needs to be truthful." "Understood. May I start the interview now?" "I apologize for my enthusiasm. Life's usually dull, and this is, well, quite something. Accused of murder, me. Exciting? Shouldn't you feel remorse for losing your wife?" "No, I lost her ages ago. Sad when anyone dies, but truth is, Kerry was a horrible, cheating person. So how did she die?" "2 shots to the back of her head." "Sounds professional." "Let's leave the conclusions to us. But yes, looks professional. I'm no hit man. Wonder if there's a school for that. But you figure I could have hired one." "Not in the phone book, but you know someone who could find one. Petro Marconi." "Petro, my childhood pal." "Mafia connections." "Yeah, most exciting part of my history. A friend with mafia ties." "Sorry, you were saying." "Possible you got Petro to find a hitman." "Can we skip to the good part? Let's see what's against me." "Motive. Hated her. She threatened me with a ruinous divorce regularly." "Opportunity. Home alone, can't verify." "No registered gun." "What type of gun?" "A .22? Shows say pros use that." "Could have got an illegal gun." "Harder now with anti-Second Amendment folks in power." "Test me for gunshot residue, though I could have worn gloves." "So me using my mafia-connected friend to hire a hitman, dump the gun, seems an open and shut case." "Ready to cuff me? Didn't pack for a sleepover." Female Detective Armbruster remarked, "You're quite the oddball." "Thank you. Must say, Ms. Armbruster, if you're aiming for the tough cop look, you're nailing it." Her face flushed red with anger. "Mr. Jackson, enough. We have a solid case against you for murder and attempted murder." "Wait, how can I be charged with both?" "Murder kinda covers the attempt, doesn't it?" "I meant her lover, also shot and in critical condition." "Hold on, no one mentioned a lover being shot." "Which one?" "She had more than one." Sandy nodded. "The guy shot was her trainer from Planet Fitness. In her car's parking lot, back seat. He was shot in the genitals, lost a lot of blood. Damn, bloodstains are a pain to clean from upholstery. Sorry, off track. So, you're alleging I killed my wife and castrated a lover with bullets. Biggest flaw, plenty of other suspects. What about wives and girlfriends of men she was with? Other lovers seeking revenge. Given her many affairs, your suspect list might be larger. Lots of people to talk to, check alibis. I'll list her known lovers, some women she went with. They might know more. Trim the list before calling me back. Can I head home? And let me say it, don't leave town. Sandy was taken aback by how many assumed he killed his wife. Even though some thought it might have been justified, no one was outright asking, did you kill her? As if someone facing serious consequences would confess. His standard reply was, nope, but I'll buy a drink for the one who did. Then he'd joke, I'm lying. A whole case for the guy or gal. It was a waiting game. Until the killer was found, estate matters and life insurance were on hold. If it turned out to be Sandy, he'd lose his inheritance. Without Kiri's income, he had to tighten his finances. Not that it was much different. Kerry spent lavishly on booze, drugs, and lovers. Lena noticed his absence at their usual bar, learning of his legal trouble from the bartender. She called to offer condolences and a six-pack, but he declined, wary of linking them as lovers and making her a suspect. They joked about it, imagining headlines. Lena, thanks for reaching out. Missed you a lot. So what's new in your dating life? Any Mr. Right number 2? No luck. My dating life's struggling. My trusty toy's overworked. Starting to reconsider finding Mr. Right before it's too late. Any leads? Well, if I avoid the death penalty, I might apply. At least we know we click. That's a fact. Speaking of which, any word on them coming after you? Not a peep. Finding the real killer in Kiri's web seems miraculous. I might end up the fall guy just for the sake of conviction. Shame the trainer didn't make it. He might have eyed the shooter. Hey Sandy. I'm here for you, regardless of what folks think. Well, except you sometimes. Appreciate that, Lena. Means something, maybe not everything, but something. Both ended the call, wishing they'd said more, like love you. Sandy's prediction rang true. None of Kiri's acquaintances seemed as plausible a suspect as him. His trial began 6 months after her death. Sandy refrained from testifying. His candidness about his feelings toward his unfaithful wife might have swayed against him. His defense banked on numerous potential culprits with motive and chance. During cross-examination, Sandy's lawyer pressed the detectives. How many women sought revenge? Nearly 100. The jury was astonished. And those without an alibi? 38. Another shock. Then, are you sure you have all the names of men she was involved with? The detective faltered, admitting to missing some or only knowing first names, unable to locate them or their partners. The DA's dismay was palpable. The detective openly admitted why Mr. Jackson was singled out for prosecution, saying, "Ask the DA." Jackson seemed the likeliest, I suppose. The DA shot a glare at the detective. Sandy waited for 3 agonizing days while the jury deliberated. The judge declared a mistrial after an 8-4 split for the last 2 days. The DA chose not to retry Sandy, unable to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. The unknown suspects and lack of evidence regarding the hitman left room for doubt. Sandy celebrated, but his joy faltered seeing Lena leave the courtroom in tears. She ignored his calls for days. Lena, were those tears of relief? No, I was sad. I'd always wanted to say I dated a killer. Of course, you goof, I was thrilled. Sandy, I prayed you wouldn't be found guilty. But I wasn't guilty. Luckily enough, jurors agreed. I knew you weren't guilty. I appreciate your faith in me. No, I mean I knew you weren't guilty. What do you mean? Sandy, I'm the one who killed your wife and her trainer. Sandy paused, stunned. Lena, that's hard to believe. Why would you do that? Sandy, I fell for you against my best efforts. Even after we stopped dating, thoughts of you consumed me daily. I couldn't bear to see you suffer in that marriage. Eventually, I took my father's old .22 pistol. I followed her, waited for the moment. That night, I saw her with the trainer. No one around, so I shot them both. Tried to make it look professional. I watched Law and Order too. But in court, when I heard about your mafia ties, I panicked, fearing I'd worsened your case. You killed Carrie and her lover to set me free for us to be together. No, not exactly. I did it for your freedom, not assuming you'd marry me. In stories, the other woman rarely gets the guy. Lena, what if they convicted me? I confess. I still have the gun. It'd prove it. I wouldn't let you go to prison or worse. But you'd go to prison. As long as you were free. That's a unique way to say, I love you. Is it? Maybe you're just worried I'll shoot you if you don't pick me. That's part of it. There's something thrilling about a woman with a smoking gun. Speaking of, you need to get rid of that gun where no one will find it. Sandy pondered for a moment. I've got the perfect place. Well past midnight, the pair made their way from the car to Kerry Jackson's grave. Sandy used a spade to create a small burial spot for the gun, minimizing any disturbance to the grass. He carefully replaced the ground cover, trying to leave it undetectable. He even urinated around the area to help blend the turf edges. No one visits her grave, so it should be safe here. Lena inquired, "What's next, now that you're a free man?" Sandy slipped his arm around her waist and grinned, "It's time to upgrade you from the other woman." He produced a small ring box. Lena chuckled, "You're not proposing to me on your ex-wife's grave, are you? That's too much." "You're right. Too tacky. How about we just dance on her grave and call it a day?" And so they did.